Welcome back to this explainer. If you're a Sacco leader, a board member, or maybe a compliance officer, you already know the landscape we operate in is constantly shifting. Today, we're zeroing in on something absolutely crucial: unpacking the Sacco Society's non-deposit taking business regulations of 2020. I am so excited to guide you through this material because we're going to take these really complex legal requirements and break them down into a clear visual journey. We're not going to waste any time on the basics of what a Sacco is, right? Instead, we're jumping straight into the critical regulatory compliance you need to secure your organization's future. Let's get into it. Okay, so to demystify the exact legal journey your Sacco has to take to achieve that authorized regulated status, the regulations lay out a pretty clear flow. First, identifying if you even need authorization, then assembling your application toolkit, surviving the on-site inspection, and finally, handling the branding and renewal phases. We're going to use this roadmap to navigate our entire explainer today. So, here's our quick agenda for today. Number 1, the path to authorization. 2, do you require authorization? 3, the application toolkit. 4, inspection and rebranding. 5, the consequences of noncompliance. And 6, takeaways and next steps. Simple enough, right? Let's keep moving. Section 1, the path to authorization, your regulatory roadmap. Section 2, do you require authorization? Let's check those trigger points. Right, so the very first question every single Sacco board member has to ask is, do these rules actually apply to us? Well, the most crucial trigger point is this: if your Sacco's total non-withdrawable deposits equal or exceed 100 million shillings, seeking official authorization is legally required. This is your primary financial threshold. If your members' non-withdrawable deposits hit that massive 9-figure mark, you're just no longer operating under the old rules. You have to step up to the 2020 regulatory standards and officially apply. Now, what's really fascinating here is that even if you don't hit that 100 million shillings mark, going digital or recruiting globally instantly triggers the exact same authorization requirement. Specifically, if your Sacco is mobilizing membership or subscriptions to share capital, mostly through digital or electronic payment platforms, you need to be authorized, period. Similarly, if you're recruiting members who ordinarily live outside of Kenya, the diaspora, you absolutely cannot do so without written authorization from the authority. So the rules are super clear. Digital reach plus global reach equals mandatory regulation. Section 3, the application toolkit, basically what you need to apply. As you can see, there are 3 distinct steps on your journey to becoming a regulated non-WDT Sacco. You can't just, magically jump to the finish line. You've got to compile your toolkit first, submit it for review, host the authority for a really rigorous on-site inspection, and only after all of that do you move on to branding and annual renewals. Let's unpack that first step. Your application toolkit has to be incredibly comprehensive. We're talking leaving literally no stone unturned. You've got to submit completed fit and proper test forms. And hey, this isn't just for the CEO. It includes your board of directors, the supervisory committee, and your senior management staff, which specifically names the heads of ICT, internal audit, credit management, and finance. On top of all that vetting, you need to provide your registration certificate, your bylaws, a certified extract of your general meeting resolution that actually authorizes this non-deposit taking business, your audited financials for the past 3 years, and a really solid 3-year business plan with a feasibility study. Lastly, you need concrete evidence of adequate capital, and all of this gets submitted alongside a non-refundable application fee of 3,000 shillings. Section 4, inspection and rebranding, passing the test. So once you submit your toolkit and that fee, the authority is going to physically verify your organizational setup. That's right, they are coming to your offices to check out your physical workspace and institutional infrastructure. They're going to test your management information system, your MIS, to make sure it can properly perform, account for all transactions, and generate their minimum required reports. Plus, they'll be looking really closely at your risk management policies, your internal control systems, and just generally making sure your organizational and governance structures are genuinely suitable for a regulated entity. Now let's talk numbers, because securing and maintaining your authorization certificate requires some specific non-refundable fees. We already mentioned that 3,000 shilling initial application fee, but once you pass the on-site inspection and you're notified of compliance, well, the real fees kick in. You have to pay 50,000 shillings to authorize your head office, plus another 10,000 shillings for every single other branch or place of business. And remember, this is an ongoing relationship. Every single year, before November 30th, you got to pay renewal fees, 30,000 shillings for the head office and 10,000 shillings for each branch, right alongside submitting your annual data and performance information. Upon approval and payment of those fees, congratulations, you are officially authorized. But the work doesn't stop there. You are legally required to include specific phrasing in your name. You must rebrand to include the words Regulated Non-Withdrawable Deposit-Taking Sacco or the acronym Regulated Non-WT Sacco. Furthermore, it's absolutely mandatory that you conspicuously display your brand new authorization certificate in your head office and place a copy in every single one of your branch locations. Oh, and a quick word of warning here. Anyone using this terminology without actual authorization is directly violating the regulations, so don't jump the gun. Section 5. Consequences of non-compliance. High stakes for your Sacco. All right, we need to turn our attention to the regulatory implications now, because the stakes here are incredibly high. Ask yourself, what happens if the authority determines that your Sacco hit that 100 million mark, or you went digital and you just failed to apply? Or maybe you did apply, but you were rejected. Well, the regulations give the authority incredible power to basically shut down your operations. The consequences are severe. If you're found to be non-compliant, the authority will issue an order prohibiting your Sacco from taking any further non-withdrawable deposits. But honestly, it goes way further than that. They will publicly notify employers to stop making remittances to you. They can literally direct your bankers and your payment service providers to freeze fund receipts into your accounts. They'll publish public notices stating you're unauthorized, and they can even initiate direct enforcement actions against individual Sacco officers. Ignoring this regulation could effectively freeze your entire financial operation overnight. It's a real game changer. And get this, even after you successfully get authorized, your certificate can still be revoked. The authority can strip your status if you fail to maintain at least 25% of the prescribed minimum capital adequacy requirements. Revocation is also a guarantee if you engage in criminal or fraudulent acts that cause insolvency or hurt your members. Actually, even something as administrative as just forgetting to pay your annual renewal fees can lead to revocation. If your authorization is revoked, the authority jumps in to preserve your assets and books and then hands them completely over to the Commissioner of Cooperatives. Plus, if you happen to be an officer during a revocation, you are banned from participating in the management of any other Sacco without written approval. The accountability here is personal and it's permanent. Section 6. Takeaways and next steps. Securing your Sacco's future. As we wrap up this explainer, you really need to reevaluate where your organization currently stands. Are your deposits creeping up to that 100 million mark? Are you starting to target the diaspora? Because if the answer is yes, the clock is absolutely ticking. As we've seen, one misstep can lead to frozen bank accounts and locked doors. So ask yourself, is your Sacco truly ready for the scrutiny of the 2020 regulations, or are you operating on borrowed time? For specialized consulting on these matters and to see how this roadmap fits your organization, please reach out directly at 0107 719 089.